My name is Destiny, and I am teaching myself using a self-guided syllabus that I created and am currently tweaking. Part of the syllabus highlights Zora Hurston as a figure who needs to be venerated, which I 1000% agree with. I made the syllabus. And I bought, maybe a few years ago, this text, which is the complete stories of Zora Hurston. I love Zora Hurston. I've said it a million times, but it just is so true. And she is a phenomenal writer who inspires me so much. Like, I have a deep emotional connection to this woman and her writing. And therein, I love Alice Walker, because who's to say that I would have this book in my hand if it weren't for her and people like her? Also, the craziest thing, I do not read introductions. I don't read forewords, and I read afterwards. I don't like spoilers. And when I get to that part in the introduction where they start explaining what each piece, my stomach is rumbling and tumbling. This is crazy. When it gets to explaining what each piece entails and what messages should be pulled and what themes were included and what inspired those themes, I tend to just skip that because I want to freshly engage with it, and I usually don't return. But I was reading part of the introduction because I love her so much and want to know how this came about. And one of the researchers' last name was Dykes. I do not see my name in print, like, ever. So I was taken aback. I looked the lady up, and apparently I'm probably not related to her. I'm not too sure, but it's just so crazy. So I felt even more like, dang, I think I'm supposed to be reading this. So I read John Redding Goes to Sea. It is such a beautiful story, and it's actually making me emotional because the ending is very unfortunate, but not surprising. And I am amazed at her abilities to imagine worlds and to make them jump off of the page with such vigor. I love the way that she creates scenes, and I just love her so much. So the reason I said part of this might be a journal is because I have a lot to say, and some of it is inspired by the passage that I'm about to read. So this is John Redding talking to his father. From the beginning of the short story, John Redding's mother, Maddie, talks about how her son is strange. She always felt like there was a spirit put on him. They were, I don't want to even say cursed, but somebody put a root on her because she took John Redding daddy from somebody else. So then they put a root on the son. And the whole point of it was that the root causes him to stray away from the home. And he can't help himself. He just has a wandering spirit. This troubles his mother. He ends up falling in love with the woman. This troubles her too, because where is my man going? But the father is always like, I love my son and I want him to live out his dreams. And if his dreams are to travel the world, he can do that by whatever means. So John Redding is considering going to the Navy. And he's talking about his reasoning for it. He says, you know, Papa, sometimes I reckon my longing to get away makes me feel this way. I feel that I'm just earth, soil, lying helpless to move myself, but thinking. I seem to hear herds of big beasts like horses and cows thundering over me, and rains beating down, and winds sweeping furiously over, all acting upon me, but me, well, just soil, feeling, but not able to take part in it at all. Then a soft wind like love passes over and warms me, and a summer rain comes down like understanding and softens me, and I push a blade of grass or a flower or maybe a pine tree. That's the ground thinking. Plants are ground thoughts because the soil can't move itself. Whenever I see little whirls of dust sailing down the road, I always step aside. I don't want to stop them because they're on their way, shining, moving. Oh yes, I'm a dreamer. I have such wonderfully complete dreams, Papa. They never come true, but even as my dreams fade, I have others. Spoiler, I don't know if you like spoilers. I don't, so I'm just giving you a spoiler alert because I'm about to talk about the end of the short story. John Redding dies. He is helping build a bridge at the command of a white person, and he goes to build the bridge. There's a big storm, which is what really the white person sends all of these black people out on the bridge for. He doesn't want all of the work that has been already done on the bridge to be washed away in the storm. So he's like, let's build this bridge as fast as possible, and that way it will survive the storm. The bridge does not survive. The men who are working on the bridge, some die, one of them being John Redding. And when they see his body floating in the water, in the sea, the St. John Sea, his father says, let him float. Because John always wanted to sail away, see the horizon. And the horizon is a theme that I noticed in Hurston's stories. And I think it represents beyond what the eye can see, the world that exists that we have not explored. So when Janie is wrapping the horizon around her waist, she has now achieved her greatest dreams of understanding and exploring. And Hurston makes me feel like that's what life is about, which is funny because I always say life is experimentation. And in order to experiment, you have to explore. So it hurts me that John only gets to live his dream in death, and that there's just so much life in this short story, and that is really the power of Zora Neale Hurston. I'm very grateful. So this is the first one that I've read from this collection. I plan to read more, of course. It looks like Drenched in Light, the next one, is less than 10 pages. And my struggle is I'm supposed to be reading Sula. And if you are a reader, then you know procrastinating by reading is a very real thing. And it's what I'm doing. But this is also part of why I said maybe I need to break the syllabus up into smaller parts, because sometimes you do need to spend extra time exploring certain people. When Toni Morrison said that she was one of the greatest writers of our time, talking about Zora Neale Hurston, she never lied. And they put it on the back of the book. The back of the book is proof. So, yeah. I feel like that lump of soil. I understand what John Redding was talking about. I feel like I'm full of potential and all of these great ideas and these great dreams. And then if nothing happens, I just remain soil. If there's no seed added, there's no seed planted, I never become the seedling that becomes the sprout that becomes the tree. And I guess I'm trying to figure out what fertilizer am I supposed to be using and what fucking plant am I cultivating? And I just don't have it figured out. And I think the most annoying part is that the things that I do have figured out, I have figured out. And that leads people to believe that I have everything figured out. I have this thing figured out. I don't have shit else figured out. I don't know what life is about. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how long it's supposed to take. I don't know what it's looking like. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I'm just here, living. And I'm a teacher. So living is not enough, because then there's little people asking you questions about what they should be doing. I don't know what you should be doing because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to teach you the English language. And unfortunately, I have a love for the English language. It's not unfortunate. I love being articulate. I love being able to say what I want to say and express myself with words. But I think articulation is also something that can build a wall between you and other people. And I feel like John Redding talks about this in his relationship with his father, because it's obvious that there's so much that his father wants to express but isn't able to because he does not have the language that John does. And John is educated, and he has a wandering spirit. He just has a thirst to know and be and want more. And again, this is generational, because his father knows nothing more than labor. His mother knows nothing more than tending and nurturing. And John, because his parents were what they were, is able to dream. So I'm grateful for all of the people who have made it so that I can dream. And gratitude is all I really have from them. So it makes me feel like, dang, I gotta figure it out. And I think a lot of people don't know that feeling. So it looks a different way to them. Trying to figure it out looks like having it figured out, which instead of maybe causing inquisition, can cause envy, can cause anger, can cause people to feel threatened. And I think that's where I am in my life. Like, I'm just realizing that my journey, which has always felt like a very reclusive one, kind of has to be at a lot of points, because I have to protect the soil from whatever pesticides these niggas is spewing out. So yeah, it's Tuesday. Yesterday was a snow day. Today should have been a remote day, but I went to work in the Bronx and I'm home today, right now, talking about what I love. So yeah, this is my mini journal entry / reading of a passage from John Redding Goes to Sea from the complete stories of Zora Neale Hurston. If you are interested in the self-guided syllabus, it will be linked in the bio. I'll do an updated video when I get the opportunity, desire, and will to update it. But I have a formal observation tomorrow for which I have not prepared myself, and some more shit. So we'll see.